What's up, guys? D-Rock1992 here. For this next video and for my next review, I am going to be... This is a long-awaited review for me because I didn't get to see this one in theaters. Didn't get to see it for a while. Finally, I saw it just yesterday. This review is for Furious 7. As you may have seen, I have reviewed all the other Furious films, and, all of them have been positive reviews from me. I really like the series and a lot of the movies and things like that. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into this latest version, Furious 7. First of all, before I get into it, this was the final movie with Paul Walker in it. His final film appearance ever. And I just wanted to pay some tribute to him. Obviously, it was a big loss to the Furious family. It's like a family because a lot of the cast members have been in movies, in past Furious movies with each other. Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, Ludacris, all those guys. They had, unbelievable chemistry in 5 and 6, especially. They had unbelievable chemistry together in those movies. They looked like they had a great time with the Furious movies. Paul Walker looked like he had a great time with all the Furious movies. He really did. It looked like he really loved what he was playing. And I had said before that I thought anybody could play the role he played, and I still think that's true. Anybody could play that role of Brian O'Connor, but he played it in his own way, in his own special way that made him unique. Was he the best actor is he the best actor in this franchise? No, he isn't. But he was a pretty good actor. He made the role his own, which is what a lot of great actors do. They make the roles their own. They own their roles. They make sure that they play that role the best that they can in the way that they do it. And Paul Walker did that with the Furious movies. Later on, I'll kind of talk more about Paul Walker, but right now I want to get into the movie itself. Now this follows Furious 6, where the gang, Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, Dwayne Johnson, Ludacris, Tyrese Gibson, all those guys, they defeated a man named Owen Shaw, who was a mercenary. He was a very, he was a very bad guy, basically. They defeated him. So now, at the end of Furious 6, they got amnesty for all their past crimes. So they're free people, essentially, all the gang. So, beginning of 7, you see that there's normal life back. There's normalcy back in the Furious franchise. Brian O'Connor is adjusting to life as a father. He had a son in the 6th film. Him and Jordana Brewster, who plays Letty Toretto. So they're adjusting to family life. Dominic Toretto is adjusting to his life as well and trying to restore fully his relationship with Letty. Letty, who is played by Michelle Rodriguez. So pretty much the whole gang is back to normal. They aren't fighting anymore. But then a man comes into their lives. Owen's older brother. His name's Deckard Shaw, who is played by Jason Statham. He kills one of the members named Han in Japan. He does that, and suddenly the gang is threatened. with their own lives and things like that. You know, it is a bad situation with this guy. I mean, the threat is real. This Deckard Shaw is a very threatening, menacing individual. And the big thing about it is, for most of the movie, he's by himself. He doesn't have any henchmen or associates of his, really, that he works with. He joins up with a crew, a villainous mercenary crew later on, but it's not really a big partnership, per se. So this Deckard Shaw, he is alone. He is trying to knock off all the crew, basically. Knock off Toretto and O'Connor and all the other people. So this guy's a real threat. So he gets into the office of Luke Hobbs to steal information about about the crew, the whole Fast and Furious gang. He puts Hobbs into the hospital, basically, and Hobbs tells them to go right after Shaw. But first, before they do that, they have to rescue this computer programmer who has this device called God's Eye, which is a surveillance device which basically can locate everybody around the world. This is the answer to Where's Waldo. I mean, you can find Waldo in hours. I mean, you know, you're agonizing over a Where's Waldo book. You're like, where the hell is Waldo? And with this machine, you can find him in a matter of seconds, it looks like. I mean, you can find him in a matter of seconds. You can find people in a matter, they said in a matter of hours, but it was pretty quick the way God's Eye found a whole bunch of things. So, excuse me. So they have to retrieve this God's Eye and get it out of the wrong hands. There's this mercenary crew led by a man named Mos Jakande, who's played by Jimon Hunsu, if I'm pronouncing the name right. They're allied by a man named Frank Petty. The gang, the Fast and Furious gang, are allied by a man named Frank Petty, who's the leader of this covert ops team. He is played by Kurt Russell. So Kurt Russell enters the franchise. So he helps the gang try to retrieve this Devil's Eye, or God's Eye, and basically, to get the God's Eye, they get the God's Eye. It leads them to Shaw because they can locate Shaw. Shaw's like a shadow. He can disappear anywhere and he can, stay hidden for a long time. But with this God's Eye, they can find him and locate him and bring the fight to him. So they have to get that I keep calling it devil, God's Eye. They have to get this God's Eye, and they basically have to use it to try to defeat Shaw and stop him from killing off members of the team, more members of the Fast and Furious team. So that essentially is the plot of the film. A lot of the same characters are back, as I mentioned. Paul Walker, Dwayne Johnson, Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, Tyrese Gibson, Chris Bridges. Those are the main people that came back for this film. And they were all very good. I mean, it's to be expected. I mean, Tyrese Gibson is the comic relief in this film. He has been in the last 3 or so. He was comic relief in Fast 2 as well. But this guy is a comic relief. He's a pretty funny guy. He's hilarious. The chemistry he has with Ludacris, or he goes by Chris Bridges, is very good. And, I mean, all the characters do the jobs that they did in the earlier films. All the main characters that came back. The addition of Jason Statham as the villain was a big addition. It was a very good addition. Statham didn't talk very much in this movie. But you could tell he was into this role. He looked very menacing. Despite the fact he had a fight scene with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Statham is a relatively short guy, and Dwayne Johnson's a big dude who's pumped up, with muscles and unbelievable muscle power. And him and Statham, you look at them side by side, and it's like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's going to win that fight, but Statham puts the hurt on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Kind of the same thing with him and Vin Diesel. You think Vin Diesel will win, but Statham really puts the pressure on. Another one that was really good. Statham was a great addition. Kurt Russell was an amazing addition to this cast. I liked him. He was kind of comic relief as well, and he really worked with the crew, definitely, and he absolutely worked in this film. The girl who played the hacker, Nathalie Emmanuel, was very good in this film. Not much really to say about her. She was good. Jamon Hunsu, if I'm pronouncing the name right, he does well as the mercenary. He's been in a lot of movies before. He's an actor who's been in quite a few movies. Nothing that I can think of, but he is he was a good addition to the crew of this. Ronda Rousey has a small role in the film. Very few spoken dialogue, and that is a good thing because this woman can't act. Ronda Rousey, if those of you who don't know her, she's a mixed martial arts fighter. She's into MMA, and she's a badass woman. A badass woman who can't act worth a lick. But it was nice seeing her fight with Michelle Rodriguez. They had a fight scene together. It was very nice to see that. So it was a good thing she did not act a lot in this movie, because she really is a terrible actress. Lucas Black is back in this film, and he was in Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and if you go back to that review I did not like his acting in that film. He didn't have a big role in this film. He was only in one scene, basically. 2 scenes. And he didn't do that bad. He really didn't do that bad at all. One of the big joys is seeing Gal Gadot leave the franchise, because she's a terrible actress. She really is. Nice to look at, but she's a terrible actress. She was in 4, 5, and 6, and then she was killed off in 6. Little bit of a spoiler alert there. She did appear in archive footage in this film and in a photograph. No lines at all. I was very excited about that because she is a bad actor. Or actress. So anyway, saying all that about the characters, the characterization and all that, I was really blown away by this film. I was looking forward to it tremendously because I had watched the first 6 films, and my favorite, before watching Furious 7, my favorite was Fast 5, because that was the one that introduced Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And it was a big step up from Furious 4. However, Furious 7 now is my favorite movie in the franchise. This was just a movie that blew me away. It was the stakes were higher. It was the whole team against one guy. You'd think, the team would kick that one guy's ass. But this guy's a threatening man. And you have the mercenaries in there as well. But the core battle was Toretto and his crew against Shaw. And this Shaw character is a very threatening character. He knocks on the door. He knocks rudely on the door of Toretto and his crew, and he's very intimidating. You know, the stakes are higher. He's a very threatening killer. He's threatening to end everybody's lives in that crew, and it's just a great thing to watch all that tension that goes on in the film, and the action scenes are very good. They figure out a way in Furious 7 to top what happened in Furious 6. Every Furious movie now tries to outdo the other one. There are a few scenes in particular, I'm not going to give them away, but there are a few scenes in particular that I think do top 6 for sure, involving cars and things like that. So this movie does top the 6th one in terms of action scenes and things like that. They're beautiful action scenes, beautiful fights, as I mentioned, between Michelle Rodriguez and Ronda Rousey, Vin Diesel and Jason Statham, The Rock and Jason Statham. So, I mean, they were great fights. But what really put this film on top for me was the end of the movie. The tribute to the late, great Paul Walker. They did it well. And I had heard going in, that I had heard a lot of reviews and things like that that said that they loved the tribute to Paul Walker, that it was done right. It was done right. The critics were right. It was done right. There were a lot of background, a lot of photographs, a lot of scenes of old scenes of Paul Walker, and yeah, I mean, the scenes, I'm not going to give it all away, but the scene was, the tribute to Paul Walker was very well done. It was a nice, fitting tribute to Paul Walker, and it didn't take all the movie to do it. It took the ending. The Furious 7 did a good job of saving that tribute until the end and not making it a tribute throughout the film. Because you still have a film to make. I mean, Furious 7 is its own film, for sure. So saving that tribute until the end was a brilliant move by the people who made Furious 7, and it was just a great thing. So, overall, it is the best film in the franchise right now. I mean, Fast 5 is second on that list now. It drops to second, and Furious 6 drops to third. So, for Furious 7, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 stars. And I know I've been giving a lot of them out, but I have been seeing a lot of great movies. So I really can't help it. I mean, it's just, I've seen a lot of great movies lately, including the Marvel films. I know I've said before, Marvel does it right. This movie does it right. Furious 7 is such a great film, great action scenes, the tribute to Paul Walker was very good, great characters, great chemistry between the crew and the newcomers, and it was just a great film overall, and I loved Furious 7. And that is it for my review. D-Rock 1992, out.